What's going on, guys? This is Mr. DeLORIAN here on today's brand new video. Today what I want to do is break down the trailer we got for The Walking Dead World Beyond Season 2, Episode 2. So in the last episode, a lot of things happened. Iris and Felix were found by Will in a new group that apparently has connections with the CRM, but are letting Iris, Felix, and Will stay there as they form their mini CRM revolution to free people like Hope, Leo, Iris, and Hope's dad, and all of their other friends that were taken by the CRM in Season 1. But on the complete other side of things, Hope in Season 1, like I mentioned before, was taken by the CRM. And now in Season 2, Elizabeth and Huck put Hope through a bunch of tests in Episode 1 to pretty much test if Hope is truly dedicated to the CRM and won't go doing any crazy shit telling the people of the CRM who they truly are and everything, or telling the citizens of the CRM about the CRM's horrible activities and everything, to make sure Hope is essentially just dedicated to the CRM and won't do any crazy shit. Which by the end of Episode 1, Hope passed all the tests and everything, and she was officially taken to the official the CRM communities to live there, and it was finally reunited with her dad, Leo. And now here we are in Episode 2, so let's break down the trailer for The Walking Dead World Beyond Season 2, Episode 2. Now the first thing I want to go over in this trailer is Hope, the CRM, Elizabeth, and the possible cure to the whole Walker outbreak. So the trailer opens with the CRM helicopter flying into what I can only assume is the CRM communities. Next we go inside a classroom, what I can only assume is a classroom, what I do think is a science class that maybe Hope will be a part of, which I think we do see Hope in here, because obviously Elizabeth and Huck and the CRM want Hope since she's kind of like her dad and everything, and the things that she likes, science, and she could possibly help her dad in the next generation find the cure to the Walker outbreak and virus and everything. So I assume her and a bunch of other kids or teens or young adults and everything are in a classroom learning about science and everything, so they could help for the future generations in the CRM and everything figure out the cure to the Walker outbreak. Next we get to see Hope walking through what I do think might be either a classroom inside the science classroom that we just previously saw maybe her in, or maybe she's walking through the labs of the CRM and everything, or maybe the testing facilities, and maybe, just maybe, she will find those screwed up walkers that we saw in I think some post-credit scenes in Season 1 of The Walking Dead World Beyond, where the walkers are being tested on and everything, what I'm assuming he has to find a cure. And while I do think she'll stumble into these walker tester facilities or testing facilities, is because in the Season 2 trailer we did get to see Hope laying down or sitting next to one of these walkers that are being tested on, which I do wonder what her reaction will be when she finally finds these walkers all tied up and being tested on. I wonder if she'll think it's fucked up and weird, or if she'll be oh, okay, this makes sense. And it will also be interesting to see her and her father work together, and maybe even hear her father Leo maybe discuss their progress in finding a cure. We get to see Elizabeth approaching one of the people, and yet again why it is the Walker testing facility place. And as we see Elizabeth approaching this scientist in this Walker testing facility, this scientist does look very worried. So I do wonder if maybe Elizabeth's where are you in this process and everything, and maybe she might even kill this scientist, which would be a really dumb move since scientists are really valuable in this world, especially in finding a cure for a virus like this. Or maybe doctors, but scientists are pretty far up there. But this scientist does look very worried, so I do wonder what in this situation happened that is making Elizabeth visit her, and then yet again making her look worried. Maybe this scientist fucked up and then she'll be disposed of, I don't know. But if we do look in the background, we do see the exact same Walker that was shown in Season 1 of the World Beyond, which is very weird that this one Walker, this exact same Walker, is still there, and I wonder if it has any significance going into Season 2. Maybe this is the Walker that they've gone furthest with the test of finding a cure with. Next we see Huck walking out in the dark and everything and being stopped, what I do believe is maybe Felix. This does kind of look a little bit like Felix, because we do know sometime in Season 2 that Felix will be captured or brought into the CRM, and I think based on some shots in the Season 2 trailer. So I do wonder if this is maybe Felix stopping Huck from going somewhere, maybe talking to Hope, Iris, because I do think a bunch of characters will be going to the CRM in Season 2, but I do wonder why Felix is stopping Huck from going somewhere where Huck is maybe going to. Next we see Leo, Iris, and Hope's dad and everything, a bunch of other scientists walking down a kind of testing facility, corridor. And I'm assuming in this scene or in this section of whatever episode this is, or obviously it's Episode 2, we'll get to see a deeper dive into what these scientists are doing, and maybe them trying to find a cure, and then maybe testing on some more walkers, or then just them doing stuff in general, which is most likely, like I said, finding the cure, or maybe testing on some walkers, or maybe doing trials for a cure, which would be really interesting to see. And there also is a flashing alarm going off in this scene, so I do wonder what that means, because they do seem like they're rushing, so I wonder if there is an error going going on or something happening in the testing facilities. In this next shot, it does get really freaky. We go into the woods and I think we see one of the walkers in kind of the same exact headgear that, like, you know, the walkers inside the, like, you know, CRM testing facility are in. And they're tied up against the tree with this kind of weird, very weird electrical backpack, which I do assume yet again, since we do see Leo out in, like, in the woods with these walkers, I do assume this is, like, you know, Leo and the scientists doing, like, testing on walkers to basically, like, you know, maybe define if they could feel something or maybe something else. But they're definitely testing on some walkers with, like, you know, whatever technology or whatever they're trying to do. We're gonna see a shot of Huck pointing her gun at someone or, like, you know, raising her gun, which I do wonder at who. In the shot here, we do get to also see, like, you know, Leo running after something, which does seem to be also in the woods. So maybe this is like a test, like, you know, facility or thing gone wrong, since we did see, like, you know, Leo with the walker in the season 2 trailer and everything in the woods with all they're doing all these, like, weird testing situations. So maybe something went wrong, or maybe even Leo booked it and everything, tried to run away from the CRM, which would be really interesting. We're also going to see a power station go complete haywire and everything, which I do wonder what this is and what's going on inside this situation. Maybe someone's trying to sabotage the CRM's, like, you know, power source, or I don't even know. Let's move on to the next plot point in the episode, which is Iris, Felix, Will, and finding the CRM. In the first shot here, we go into the woods where we do see a bunch of flashing lights and, like, you know, flashlights coming through the woods, which where did we last see someone in the woods but in episode 1 when we saw, like, you know, Iris take down a CRM soldier and basically kill a CRM soldier with a bunch of bow and arrows and knives. And we do get to see a shot of Iris, like, you know, lying down on the forest floor and anything, raising her crossbow, kind of being very tactical. So maybe these two shots on the exact same scene, and these are the CRM soldiers coming looking for their, like, you know, fellow comrade or fellow CRM soldier, and, you know, Iris is hiding from them and everything, which I do wonder what's going to go on in that situation and everything, because Iris killed a CRM soldier, and maybe these, like, you know, CRM soldiers are looking for this, like, you know, other CRM soldier that Iris killed. So I do wonder how Iris is going to get her way or get herself out of this situation or anything, because, like, you know, if they find out that someone killed a, like, you know, a soldier, they're most likely going to either shoot or Iris is going to have to run, because she can't fight, obviously, all these soldiers with, you know, a few crossbow bolts and everything. Like I said, a crossbow. I mean, maybe Daryl could do it and everything, but, you know, that's Daryl. As I mentioned earlier, we will get to see Felix and a bunch of other characters that are, like, you know, at first outside the CRM, eventually get into the CRM, like, you know, further into, like, you know, season 2, which is further proven because we do get to see Felix inside what I do believe is one of the CRM Walker testing facility places, because we're gonna see, like, you know, Felix get up and everything and observe one of, like, you know, the walkers that are being tested on, or two of the walkers that are being tested on, because we do get to see these walkers with the similar headgear on that the walkers inside the CRM do have on. So maybe he's observing these walkers like, what the fuck are they doing here? Which I don't blame him and everything. This does look pretty fucking weird. We then get to see Felix and Will, like, you know, just killing some walkers and everything out in the wild and dumping them into a pit, which is kind of interesting. But maybe it's like, you know, Will showing Felix kind of like, you know, the community and everything, and just showing them what they do maybe on a daily basis, going out and killing some walkers. Or maybe they're setting up a defense or anything where they, like, you know, dump a bunch of walkers into, like, you know, a pit and everything, kind of like a moat around a kingdom. Maybe this is how the community protects themselves against, like, outsiders and people. I don't know, that's honestly just a theory, because I wouldn't know why, like, you know, Felix and Will are killing walkers and then throwing them into this pit, unless it's maybe, like, you know, a mass grave where they dump walkers into to, like, you know, light them on fire, just, like, bury them. Although the person that they do throw in, or, like, you know, maybe the walker, does look pretty lively when they fall, so I do wonder if this is maybe a person, because in the next shot we do get to see Felix on a bridge fighting what looks to be maybe a CRM soldier, telling about, like, you know, the all black kind of outfit that, like, you know, the person that, like, Felix is fighting, that's, like, you know, the person's wearing. So maybe the situation of Felix fighting the CRM soldier on the bridge is how he gets into the CRM. Maybe he's, like, you know, captured or something, or maybe Felix goes out looking for Iris in the middle of the night and everything, and that's when he gets captured. But this is a very interesting scene to see Felix fighting a CRM soldier on a bridge with clearly a ton of walkers around them. I'm very interested to see how this fight goes down and everything, because it just, I don't know, I like, you know, it would be cool. Next we get to see Iris and Hope in the CRM, or what I do think is the CRM, which is very interesting because, like I said, in episode 1, our characters are, like, you know, on the outside of the CRM in this new community that, like, you know, Will was staying in, all trying to form a plan to get Hope, Leo, and all these people out of the CRM, but now they're all inside the CRM, which is really, really weird. Like, how can they do damage from the inside? I mean, obviously they could do damage from the inside because obviously it's easier if they're on the inside, but I do wonder what their plan necessarily is, because obviously I would assume the CRM would just kill them since they know a lot of information, bad information about the CRM. But nonetheless, we do get to see, like, you know, Iris and Hope in the CRM and everything, and basically both them running away from each other. So maybe this is, like, you know, maybe Iris snuck into the CRM and they were talking for a bit, but then now Hope and Iris are, like, you know, parting ways, and then maybe, like, you know, Iris is gonna, like, jump the walls and get out of the CRM, which I do really like, not believe, since obviously the CRM is a very guarded community. We do get a shot here of like, Iris just taking on a walker, which is pretty cool. Now we do get a really interesting shot right here, which is pretty much Iris just walking in a field. And this could be like, around the shot where like in the previous shot that like where she just killed a walker. But also in the season 2 trailer, we did get to see Iris walking towards somewhere, and then a bunch of CRM, or I do believe are CRM helicopters, flying towards her over like, a mountain or over a hill. So I do wonder if this is that scene and why there are so many CRM helicopters flying in one direction. Maybe it's like patrol or something. And also, what are they going to do if maybe they see Iris in or anything, or maybe some of her friends from the community that Will and Felix are staying in. But it's very interesting. I do wonder if there's two shots of like, Iris like, walking here in the field, and then like, the CRM helicopters coming over the hill. I wonder if that's in the same scene. And if we'll see that in this episode, I do wonder why there's so many CRM helicopters flying in one direction. Like I said, it could be patrol, them carrying supplies, I don't know. Now let's move on to the next plot point of the episode, which is Silas, the CRM, and like how he was captured last season. Because if you guys do not know, in the season 1, I think, finale for Walking Dead World Beyond, or it might have not been the finale, but pretty much Silas sacrificed himself for Percy and like, Elton, since they were going to be detected, since like, Percy was injured or anything. But Silas sacrificed himself and ran over to the CRM and basically said, capture me, while Percy and Elton escaped. But now, Silas is captured by the CRM, so let's see how that goes in this trailer. So in the first shot, we do get to see like, Silas with his hands behind his back and everything, getting a bag taken off his head by what looks to be a bunch of kids, which is really weird. Obviously, in season 2 promotional material, we get to see Silas and like a bunch of other kids in like uniforms doing like, what looks to be labor work and everything, like killing walkers and doing other types of labor work all around the CRM. And he obviously doesn't have on that outfit right now. So I do wonder if this is like, maybe like, taking Silas from exactly where we left off in season 1, and maybe this is him just arriving to the CRM and everything. But we did also get some season 2 promotional images of him and like, some other people out in like, out in the woods, maybe like yet again doing community service or taking on some walkers. So maybe this is like, after a day of community service out in the woods, I don't know. We do get to see Silas like, in this kind of really weird industry factory area and everything, taking on a walker. But that was all for Silas. Let's move on to Elton and Percy and their plot throughout the episode. Now the reason I'm bringing this shot up again and everything, the one where all the flashlights are shining through the woods and everything, and it being possibly CRM soldiers, is because we get a shot right here of Percy holding up like a Commonwealth like, rifle in the woods. So before I did mention that this could have been like, linked to Iris being like, spotted in the woods and everything, or being hunted down after she killed like that CRM soldier. But maybe these flashlights could be looking for Percy and Elton. And I do wonder how like, Percy did end up obtaining like, a CRM rifle, like, the CRM rifle with like, the machine gun and then like, the spikes on the end. Maybe he took out like a CRM soldier. I'm not 100% sure. We're also going to see Elton, who looks really tired and everything, in the woods, maybe like, with Percy and everything. Because obviously in the like, last time we did see them was in season 1 and they were both together. Now the next few shots are really confusing because we basically get Elton running away from something like really fast and desperately, and then we get a next shot of Hope like, holding up a gun. So this does make me wonder, are these in the exact same scene? Because it does look like at the exact same time of day and everything. Both scenes look like they're like, taking place at the exact same time and day. So I do wonder if these are like in the exact same scenes where like, Hope is raising a gun to Ellen and Ellen's running, which I highly doubt since they were all friends, in episode or in season 1. So it would be very weird to see Hope pointing a gun at Ellen, unless maybe it was like a test by the like, CRM or something happened. And the last and final plot point of this episode is the biggest one, or what might seem like the biggest one, which is Jadis's official return to the Walking Dead universe and everything after she disappeared in episode 5 of season 9 of The Walking Dead, when she was last seen with Rick and everything, basically taking him to the CRM to get him help. And finally, we're gonna find out what happened to her and everything after all that time in The Walking Dead World Beyond season 2. And apparently, I didn't think she was gonna arrive at like, this early into the season in episode 2, but apparently we're gonna get like, Jadis's return in episode 2 of The Walking Dead World Beyond. So in the first shot, we do get to see Jadis right here in the full Commonwealth getup and everything, not the Commonwealth getup, the full CRM getup and everything, with a black like, bulletproof kind of like, uniform. And she is sporting a new haircut, which is very interesting, and she is like, surrounded by walkers. I do wonder what's going on in this situation. Is she out with the CRM on like kind of like a patrol? We also get to see Jadis like in a bunch of other what doesn't look to be Commonwealth soldiers. I don't know why I keep saying Commonwealth soldiers. I mean CRM soldiers or anything. They don't really look like CRM soldiers. They kind of more so look like Russian Berettas or whatever they're like, called, more than CRM soldiers. But like, this is really cool nonetheless, because the last time we saw Jadis in a helicopter was like, when she was with Rick and everything in 905 and The Walking Dead. And it also looks like they're like, deploying on a mission or whatever. Like, they're landing and they're getting out quickly to go like, get something. So I do wonder like, where they're going to. And just in general, I honestly can't wait to see Jadis return in like, episode 2 of season 2 of The Walking Dead World Beyond, which like I said was a lot earlier than I thought she would be, like, returning in The Walking Dead like universe and everything, and a lot like as soon as I thought she would return in The Walking Dead World Beyond, because I thought she would return in like as a season, like, mid-season like cliffhanger or something, but she's returning in episode 2 that early, which is really interesting. And I wonder if we'll get to see Jadis like, interact with Elizabeth, Huck, Iris, Hope, Felix, or any of those like key characters, which would be really cool and I hope happens, which I feel like it definitely will. So that was the trailer for The Walking Dead World Beyond season 2 episode 2. There were definitely have a lot of interesting things that happen in this trailer that like, I can't wait to see, I guess. Like the biggest thing is I honestly can't wait for the Jadis like, return or anything in episode 2, which will be really big in my opinion. And I hope it does reveal a decent amount of things about like, like her currently. I do hope to get like a bunch of details about like, Rick and everything and what happened, but I doubt they'll be very like, I'm pretty sure they'll be really vague about like, Rick and everything and just what happened with him. But in general, I'm really excited to see Jadis back in the Walking Dead universe and everything after that extremely long break that she had. I'm very excited to go deeper into the like, the CRM and everything and figure out like, the scientists and everything and what they're doing to figure out a cure for the Walker outbreak and virus. I guess I'm very excited to see what like, Iris, Will, and Felix get into this episode, because like I said, there was a fight scene between like, Felix and like, a CRM soldier on a bridge with a bunch of walkers surrounding them. So I do wonder what's gonna happen in that situation or anything. Will Felix and Will and Iris be captured and taken to the CRM? But like I said, that was my breakdown for The Walking Dead World Beyond season 2 episode 2 trailer. Make sure to comment down below what you guys are most excited to see in this like, episode or anything. Is it Jadis' return? Is it seeing like, more CRM stuff? Or is it seeing like, Iris, Felix, and Hope and just all of them in general? I think just make sure to comment down below what you guys are most excited to see. And yeah, that was all for today. Anything, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more latest in the Walking Dead universe, such as reviews, theories, breakdowns, and stuff like that. And just basically more stuff like this and everything. And yep, I see you guys later, my amigos, and peace out.